Now, the absolute extrema, which can be guaranteed by the EVT, aren't the only type of extrema, and actually they're not the ones that we are most interested in calculus. They're kind of a byproduct of when we look for what are known as local or relative extrema. So it's a very similar definition, but now we're talking about that we have what's called a relative max if and only if my y value is greater than or equal to the other y values for all x's in some interval containing c. And what that means is nearby. So these are things that look like an absolute max but aren't the absolute max. So it's anytime we have something like this, where it doesn't matter what's happening throughout the entire domain, we're just caring about close to that point. A relative min is, again, a y value that's less than or equal to all the other y values nearby to that c value. So again, they look like absolute minima, but they may not be the absolute. So to kind of illustrate the differences here here's just a sketch of a random function. It's not even entirely differentiable. But looking at it, I can see it looks like there's an absolute max right up here at D, and it looks like the absolute minimum is over here at A. But then I have other places that look like maxima and minima. So, for example, right here, it looks like a maximum because it is higher than the points nearby, but it's not the absolute maximum. So this is known as a relative or a local minimum. I'm sorry, maximum. My fault. Likewise, right here, this looks like a minimum, but it's not my absolute minimum. It's a little higher than that, but it is lower than the things close by to it. So this is a relative minimum. And then again over here at E, I have another place that is lower than all the other points nearby to it. Sorry about that. And so, come on, difficulties with the program today. And so here we have another relative minimum at E. Now, interestingly enough, our absolute max and min are also relative. So here, even though it is my absolute maximum, because it is higher than the points close to it, it is also a relative max. As well as at my absolute minimum, because it is lower than the points nearby to it, it is also a relative minimum. And what it really works out to is my absolute max and my absolute min usually are the highest, like my absolute max is usually the highest relative max. My absolute min is usually the lowest relative minimum.